Coming up, state leaders mark the 4th anniversary of the first case of COVID-19 in Kentucky.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. An emotional day for many Kentuckians. Today marks 4 years since Kentucky reported its first COVID case. As WYMT's Phil Pendleton reports, Governor Andy Beshear and others gathered this afternoon in Frankfort to remember those we've lost.
Bells were rung to mark the number of deadly cases of COVID-19 during the pandemic. And Wednesday, Candy Atkinson rang a bell 120 times for each county in the state, a symbol of a virus that impacted everyone.
It really brings back even more powerful memories. I imagine even more so for the governor and his immediate staff who heard that every day in this very rotunda.
March 6, 2020 was when Beshear announced the first confirmed case of COVID. From there, it would escalate to more than 19,000 deaths in the state and a drastic change in the way of life.
This is one of the most historical events that any of us have lived through. And so marking today, not running from it, but talking about it is really important.
It's going to take us time.
A lot was said about the governor's daily briefings. Leroy Mitchell says those gave him hope and motivation.
I drew upon his strength in how he was dealing with the COVID pandemic to help me not give up.
Virginia Moore also became a big part of the briefings. Moore passed away 10 months ago today.
A lot of other states got communication because Virginia made a face on TV, and they all loved her. The dynamic duo became famous nationally.
And we just repeated over and over that we were going to get through it, and we were going to get through it together. And I think as the months went by that we knew we were strong enough. And
Beshear also signed a proclamation naming March 6, 2024 as a day of compassion. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Governor Beshear says the COVID memorial beside the state capitol building is the only one of its kind in the country. The service was supposed to be held there, but was moved indoors because of today's nasty weather. Community members gathered to pray for an EMT injured in a weekend crash on the Mountain Parkway. Alex Wells was taken to UK hospital after police say she was ejected from the ambulance. A patient in the ambulance, Deborah Akers of Elkhorn City, died. Folks gathered in Prestonsburg tonight to pray for Wells. Family, friend, and organizer Megan Hamilton says Wells needs the support.
Alex is a single mom. She has a 3-year-old little girl. She was in the ambulance crash the other day, which of course she was not expecting. Family has to travel over 100 miles back and forth to her in the hospital.
Hamilton says Wells faces a long road ahead and has potentially several surgeries ahead too. She says they have raised $12,000 in donations for Wells and her family so far. 2 deadly fires in Southwest Virginia are under investigation. The first happened Monday in Big Stone Gap. The body of 57-year-old Jimmy Kennedy was found in an outbuilding that was used as a woodworking shop. The second fire happened Tuesday at a home in Grundy. 53-year-old Christopher Hensley was found dead near the front entrance. Investigators say neither fire appears to be suspicious. A former teacher charged with rape pleaded not guilty today. Brian Wesley Bailey was arraigned in the Letcher County Circuit Courtroom. Bailey is charged with 3rd-degree rape, 3 counts of possession of child abuse materials, and tampering with evidence. Bailey was a teacher at Whitesburg Middle School. A bond hearing for Bailey is set for March 27th. Testimony today from Campbellsville Police about a murder on the university campus. A detective laid out the timeline of events to find Charles Escalera. He's accused of strangling Josiah Kilman to death in Kilman's dorm nearly 2 weeks ago. Escalera is charged with murder. We still do not know a motive, but police say Escalera admitted to committing the crime 3 times. Both were members of the Campbellsville University wrestling team. State police are looking for a missing Perry County woman. They say 51-year-old Brenda Noble Bales left her home on Margaret Lane in Avawam Monday. Police were told she suffers from mental illness and might have been trying to walk to Big Lots in Hazard. If you have any information, you should call State Police at 606-435-6069. Police say 8 students were shot in Northeast Philadelphia this afternoon as they waited for a city bus. It's the latest in a number of shootings recently on the transit system. Police say the suspects were sitting in a nearby car. The victims range from 15 to 17 years old. At least one is in critical condition. Meanwhile, New York's governor announced plans to send the National Guard to the New York City subway system. Some 750 Guard members will help police search passengers' bags for weapons following a series of high-profile crimes on city trains there. The armorer on the movie set where a crew member was killed after being shot by actor Alec Baldwin with a prop gun has been found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed appeared to show no emotion as the verdict was read. She was convicted for her role in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of the movie Rust in October 2021. The film's director was also injured. Gutierrez-Reed faces up to 18 months in prison and a $5,000 fine. Alec Baldwin is set to go on trial in July. He's pleaded not guilty.
We are tracking a slow drying trend as we go into this evening, but still watching out for a few light showers or some light sprinkles up on First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. And as you can see, mainly in southern Kentucky, pushing into southwest Virginia as well. Zooming into Pike County, also in Floyd County, portions of Johnson and Martin counties as well. Watching out for a few light showers there. And same story for Leslie County and Perry County, also for Harlan and Letcher counties at this hour. Watching out for a few passing showers, but again, a slow drying trend on the way as we go into tonight. Also watching out for this, some dense fog in some areas, less than 1 mile for Harlan, down to 4 miles in Floyd County, also for Perry County, and 8 miles over in Jackson. So we are watching out for some dense fog through late tonight, also early on Thursday. So you may need some extra time as you walk out the door on Thursday. Those current temperatures in the middle to lower 50s, down to 53 for Jackson, also in Pikeville, 54 in Hazard, 56 in London, also in Manchester, down to 46 over in Moorhead. So some cooler air is on the way. Most of us wake up in the upper 40s as you walk out the door on Thursday. A little bit of a break tomorrow from the wet weather, but more rain chances are on the way for Friday, also to kick off this weekend. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. The Republican-led state legislature voted to override Governor Beshear's veto of House Bill 18 today. The bill blocks city ordinances that would prohibit landlord discrimination against renters relying on federal housing assistance, including Section 8 vouchers. It will now become law. In a statement, Governor Beshear says the override, quote, hurts Kentuckians by allowing direct discrimination against those with disabilities, as well as our senior citizens, low-income families, and homeless veterans, end quote. Kentucky policy is raising concerns about a bill they say could lead to thousands of people losing SNAP benefits. House Bill 367 would change food stamp eligibility, restricting who qualifies for SNAP. Those against the bill say it would impact more than just families who need help paying for food. The bill is up for a vote in a Senate committee. House Bill 367 has already passed in the House. A bill to limit where adult performances take place is moving forward. The Senate passed Senate Bill 147. It's advertised as protecting children from exposure to adult performances involving nudity or sexual contact, but it specifically lists drag performances. It would ban drag shows within a city block of where children frequent. It now moves to the House. A piece of legislation meant to level the playing field for nail techs in the state is gaining bipartisan support. Senate Bill 14 cleared another hurdle this morning after passing in the House Licensing and Occupation Committee. The measure would add a seat for a licensed nail technician and esthetician on the Board of Cosmetology. It would also allow any nail tech who fails the written or oral exam a chance to retake the test 1 month later. The city of Somerset is dealing with EMS issues. In a special called meeting this morning, they urged the county to put more funds into the EMS services. The city says if they do not get more funding, the city will move forward with plans to create its own EMS department.
Another option is for the county to take over the entire service, run it for the county, and then the city would subsidize it a little bit. The third option, and you know, I don't think a lot of folks want to go here, but it has to be one, is perhaps we split up and run a city-only service.
In this morning's meeting, the majority of the city council was against breaking EMS into city and county entities. Those leaders hope to work alongside county officials to reach a solution leading into the city's next meeting March 18th. Former President Donald Trump is all but certain now to become the GOP nominee for president after nearly sweeping Super Tuesday states. His remaining rival, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, announced she's ending her bid today, but she stopped short of endorsing Trump. Her campaign says there remains a large block of Republican primary voters expressing deep concerns about the former president. On the Democratic side, Congressman Dean Phillips, who was challenging President Biden, announced he is suspending his campaign as well and endorsing the president. Tomorrow night, President Biden will deliver the State of the Union address. Kentucky Senator and outgoing Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell is endorsing Donald Trump. At one time, McConnell was a critic of the former president, blaming him even for the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. McConnell declared his support for Trump following his Super Tuesday wins. Before the announcement, the two men had not reportedly spoken since 2020, when McConnell declared Democrat Joe Biden the winner of that year's presidential election. Well, Kentucky's presidential primary is still more than 2 months away. We did some fact-checking with the Secretary of State's office. As of now, you will see 3 Democrats and 6 Republicans running for president on the May 21st ballot, not just Biden and Trump's names. All of the votes will be counted as well unless a candidate officially withdraws with the Kentucky Secretary of State. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, it's Read Across America Week, and we'll take you to one event at a school in Hazard.
Plus, we are drier tomorrow, but rain chances are back by Friday. Your forecast after this break.